officer shooed the teenager away and threatened to clear the sidewalk if they heard another peep from the audience. Even from where she stood across the street, Madison could hear the angry rumble of the crowd. But eventually the people quieted, and filming resumed. This was not the first incident of such nature, nor would it be the last. With all the cameras, crew, and now spectators in town, the residents of the community put on quite the performance. Madison could only imagine the madness to come once the show aired on a weekly basis. When Nick asked her to come down to make final color selections for the exterior, the show host neglected to mention it would take place on camera. The moment she turned onto Main and saw the crowd, Madison knew they were filming again. A quick glance down at her outfit had her wishing she had worn something different from khaki capris and a solid navy tee. Not that her limited wardrobe offered much better, but this was just so plain. That's me, plain old Maddie. As owner of the house, she had every right to pull up to the electronic gate and drive inside the premises. But the last time she had done so, an overzealous fan had slipped in alongside her and caused quite the scene. Rather than fight the crowd and call attention to herself, she would stay here and watch from a distance, then quietly slip in among the crowd. She actually preferred to stay on the perimeters of the camera lens. Just a few weeks in, but already, she had her fill of stardom. Madison lounged against the side of her car as she watched the crowd gathered in front of the big house. That's what locals had called Juliet Randolph Blakely's home since it was built a century ago, dominating an entire city block and then some. Since it was the woman's own town and namesake, she could do anything she wanted. And she wanted the biggest and best house in town. Never mind that an identical one was built across the railroad tracks for her sister in her own namesake town of Naomi. Even though the homes looked alike, each house was as different as the women themselves. 3 stories tall, the big house's original structure boasted no less than 5 porches, 2 turrets, and 3 chimneys. Across the front, the old mansion still looked much the same. In the back, however, a porch was sacrificed to add a 3rd turret that housed new bathrooms on all 3 levels. The years had taken their toll upon the house, but with the help of Nick Velarde and crew, the stately mansion was not only getting back into shape, it was shaping up better than ever. So, what color did you decide on? Absorbed in watching the antics of the town, Madison did not hear her best friend approach. She whirled around when she heard Genesis Baker's voice, her lips already pushing upward in a smile. "Jenny, you were able to make it after all. What's the point in owning your own business if you can't slip in and out at will?" Her friend gave a nonchalant shrug, as if escaping the busy restaurant so close to noon were no great feat. "I know it's bad timing for you, but I appreciate the support. You know I've always got your back, girlfriend." Jenny flashed her dimpled smile as she hooked her arm through Madison's. They stood along the perimeters for a long moment, watching the filming. "Where did all the hot bods come from?" Genesis asked after a moment. "Those aren't the usual carpenters, are they?" Madison's bark of laughter lacked amusement. "Hardly. These are the on-camera carpenters, the ones that look best with their shirts off and their pants cinched up nice and tight. At least we don't have to worry about saying no to crack," Jenny quipped. She eyed a few of the men more closely. You gotta admit, though, they are one fine-looking crew. I wonder if we could get these to come every day." After a long and wistful moment, the women sighed in unison and dismissed the notion. "Too distracting," Madison murmured, "and too tempting. As much as I'd like to, I can't leave every day to come down here and ogle the men. I do have to work, after all. Speaking of work, I have a couple of new clients." "Oh? Who this time?" Even though they carried on a normal conversation, their eyes were on the handsome crew parading around the mansion. With uncanny precision, each time the camera panned toward the house, one of the buff carpenters would strategically bend at the waist or flex his bulging biceps. Even from this distance,